It's daybreak on Arise News, and it's time for the press preview. First look at what's on the front pages of the papers. We start with This Day, our own sister publication. On the front page, UK Jonathan, Archbishop of Canterbury, appeal for violence-free, fair elections. United Kingdom temporarily closes visa application centers ahead of polls. No Nigerian should be intimidated in voting candidates of their own choice. This is coming from the ACE, NEF, and Ohaneze. I mean, it's a warning from them. NLC urges workers to turn out massively to vote on Saturday. And the top mast there, Tinubu to Buhari, I will work hard for Nigeria same way you did for me. And then just in that white strip, CBN only owed 200 banknotes reissued for circulation. Of course, you see the Atiku Abubakar, the man whose time has come on that front page. That's it for this day.
This is the Punch newspaper. Naira crisis, cash-strapped Nigerians bang on Supreme Court as hearing resumes today. Governors demand Malami Emefiele sanctioned for contempt of court. Police and Moteku nab suspects with fake new notes. Kerosene price rises by 136%. 5 police chiefs posted to Rivers. CPs redeployed. And organ harvesting are reported at Kwara to police as victim. Anambra killings panel begins on-site assessment. IG rejects RRS. All
right, the Guardian newspaper. On the front page, there you see pictures of the president, AGF, central bank governor, the 3 governors who went to court, the Supreme Court. APC governors filed contempt action against Malami Emefiele. Has some riders there. Presidential directive on 200 naira note stands. That's coming from CBN. To arrest, prosecute anyone spreading fake news. Aisha Buhari denies posting fake CBN statement on social media. And keep your old Naira Buhari Emefiele not relevant after a presidential election, says Oshomole, former governor of Edo State. All right, T.Y. Danjuma, Christian Elders Forum endorse P2B. Crack in ACF as chieftain, disowned scribe, names Atiku not anointed choice. Shiites to announce preferred candidate before election. Well, we'll see whether they will behave like a Wike of Rivers. INEC to observers, don't interfere. Accredits 146, 913 to monitor poll. 3 days to presidential election. Gunners burn houses in Imo. That's a sad news.
And the international papers, Financial Times, nuclear move, Biden parries Putin charge. Sunak weighs 5% public sector pay rise after £30 billion Treasury windfall. And SEC finds Mormon Church over effort to conceal part of $100 billion investment.
And as Putin spits fire in his speech, President Joe Biden also spits fire. Biden taunts Putin. You thought we'd roll over? You are wrong. Russia will never win. War of words intensifies as Putin pulls out a nuclear treaty and makes the world a more dangerous place to live in. This is from the Independent foreign newspaper. All right, Ken, the next one.
This is The Guardian. Nurses pause strike action to enter intensive pay talks. The US and its allies have Ukraine's back. Biden pledges.
The I newspaper, that will be our last one on the foreign scene, I guess. Resign if you want to. Sunak tells ministers as he calls Tory rebels bluff on Brexit deal. All right, time to bring in Emmanuel Bello. Emmanuel, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Glad to have you this day. All right, the This Day newspaper on the front page. UK, Jonathan, former president, Archbishop of Canterbury, they're appealing for violence-free, fair elections. And then Tinubu to Buhari in the last year of APC's campaign in Lagos. I work hard for Nigeria, same way you did work hard for me.
Yeah, great stories. And yes, 3 days to election, we need more of those calls. And you can see the individuals calling for peaceful elections. Very credible individuals, whether it's the Archbishop or Jonathan. Jonathan, of course, who has become a poster child for what looks like, democracy in Africa. I remember the guy that actually threw in the towel or congratulated, even before the counting was done, congratulated Buhari over his victory. So Jonathan has actually earned some stripes and earned some, rights to be able to talk about credible election. Some people say the problem with African democracy is this particular problem: the fact that losers don't ever accept that they've lost. The fact that they are not peaceful, the use of thugs and all of that, making it very, very rancorous and very bitter. Sometimes even the victory is not even as you can't even celebrate it because it's a victory that came from serious from troubles and all of that, and people don't get to enjoy whatever victory. So these calls are very strident, and already all the agency for peaceful polls have been talking about it. Young people are even weighing on. I'm so glad that so far, so good. We don't have those kind of violent clashes you find even during the campaigns and the stonings characterizing things of the past. Our democracy is getting better, and if we're able to pull off this transition, the president seems to be very determined to have a fantastic transition. Yesterday, you remember Irabo, the head of the army, was very clear about it, that look, the security forces are ready, and then the president to keep weighing on the fact that look, we don't want any trouble. So apart from elections being free and fair, the other thing that makes democracy interesting is that they are also rancor free. They are also free from troubles. They are peacefully done. In all the civilized world, we see even people campaigning side by side. They don't have any troubles. And but in Africa, because of our anti-democratic probably bent on nature, you find out that even campaigns, just ordinary campaigns, people going out to sell their manifestos, talking about their candidates, you see those ones also turning bloody. But I think people are wisening up. Nobody is interested in going certainly you are not interested in going to fight for any body you're supporting on election day. You will just want to go cast your vote and leave. Well, that's the
get out.
Well, that's what
let who wins
go out, cast your vote, go home, and just wait for the results.
Yeah, well, speaking of waiting for the result, we're waiting today, Emmanuel, for a decision from the Supreme Court on the central bank's cash policy. The Punch says cash-strapped Nigerians bank on Supreme Court as hearing resumes today. Meanwhile, the central bank is reiterating that only old 200 naira banknotes have been reissued for circulation. The First Lady apparently posted fake news on her social pages, but she's come up to debunk them, saying she's not the one posting them, that someone's been hacking her pages for the past 2 years.
Well, yeah, I don't know who to believe, but the CBN was very strong when it came out so strongly to say, look, that was fake news, and it was right after that the First Lady, tweeted that look, she's been hacked and all of that. But some people thought it's an insight into the disconnect that we've been talking about, that the First Lady can come and sound like, side with them Erufai of this world or the Gandujes of this world, or rather what seemed to be the talking point of the APC, that look, the CBN has no right to take those kind of decisions. The CBN, in conjunction with Mr. President, the First Lady has been known in the past to actually sound differently from her husband. So people thought that was it, but she came out so clearly to say, look, no, it's hackers at work. She's standing, while she's not talking about her stand, she said, well, she's not actually weighing on the issue. But the CBN was quick to come and say, look, it's standing on its 200 naira directives, the position of Mr. President on this. So this is going down the wires. It's a few days to the elections, and this is still grazing the front page of newspaper. Canada tells you that it's still a very burning issue, a very thorny issue. Not only just because Nigerians are, complaining on one side, also because of the politics that have got into the mix. People thinking that some politicians have really stuck up a lot of these currencies, this note somewhere, and that this policy is against, it's biting hard. And a lot of people are beginning to say that so openly, that those who are against this policy probably hid monies and now they want to bring them out to use it. They are saying that talking about the masses or talking about the rest of us is just a pretext and it's not the real thing. The real thing is that there isn't money for vote buying. Mr. President, at the start of this whole thing, actually said that this was targeted at rogue politicians who must have stacked up money somewhere. So the rest of us are torn between those tendencies. One, Mr. President and CBN, who are hell bent on ensuring that nobody buys anybody's vote, and the rest of us who just need daily monies to just live our daily lives, our normal lives. In between that, you have what the CBN and the president keep saying that, look, Nigerians need to understand the sacrifice that we have to make and just tide it over. And it's 3 days to the election. If there's any kind of vote buying that should happen, it's in the next 3 days. And after which, of course, those monies are rendered useless, as some people will say. But in the meantime, the dramas around it continue and the reporting around the issue. I suspect, Canada, we're going to be seeing more reports around the issue. If today's judgment, whatever comes out of the Supreme Court today, will be, of course, will be debated again. It's either going to, raise more issues, and of course, but most importantly, this conversation will continue.
Yeah, don't forget that it takes one to buy, it takes one to collect. Still on the punch, banks extend old 1,000 naira 500 notes collection mop up to April 10. Still on that point. Organ harvesting. I reported Ekweremadu to police. This is coming from the victim himself. Those two stories.
Yeah, one is the familiar story that we've been following, and like I said, I think there's no end in sight to what this story is. It's going to be the banks on one hand and the rest of us on the other hand, and of course the politicians. That's a kind of tripartite relationship that we are seeing around this cash issue, the banks and their crisis, and of course the rest of us as individuals and how we're dealing with the crisis of scarcity of funds, and of course the politicians who are, especially those of the ruling party APC, who are saying that this is targeted at them, and they keep talking. We're going to be seeing stories around that, and as we head into the elections, I don't see anything new happening other than the kind of stories that are coming out of that. The Ekweremadu saga is still making headline news, principally because of the gory nature of that story, and the fact that we're looking at two forms of justice administration, the one that we're used to out here and the one we're seeing happening now as he deals with this crisis in London. So I think that's what makes it an interesting story, that anytime there's an Ekweremadu story, the papers will lap it up and we'll have headline stories coming out of it. So it's an interesting drama that we need to just keep watching to see how it pans out.
A good place to leave it, Emmanuel. Thank you so much.
Let's talk about Putin. Okay.
Oh,
let's go.
Yes, and the prospect of a third world war.
Yeah, well, we don't have all the time we want to talk
happen.
about. No, he won't. We don't pray
well,
for
we
that.
hope.
Yeah, hope is what keeps us
alive. Pull out
alive.
of his nuclear, the nuclear treaty,
yeah.
and that's serious.
He's bluffing.
Well, he's pulled out.
I hope so.
Well, that's the press preview. Let's hear your views on the burning
Excuse
issues.
me.
Follow us on at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDaybreak.